Hi everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight by Dan Beebe, and we are going to have Dan O'Shea join us live, not on the phone this time, live in person, in just a few minutes. We got a huge show tonight. We're going to talk a ton of football. We're going to talk the AFC South, NFC West, Mountain West, and Big 12 football. We're going to break down the Kawhi Leonard trade, and just such a big show. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to start tonight like we start every night, and that is with our pigskin poetry. Now that we can play college fantasy and bring back those college games, the fact that it hasn't come back yet is just incredibly lame. It needs to make a comeback, and it needs to come back quick. And the NCAA needs to just stop being a dick. Just pay these kids so we can get this thing on track. Come on, EA Sports, bring this fucking game back. I used to love playing as the smaller schools. Winning the chip with Temple felt like rewriting the rules. San Diego State and Air Force 2, and there is nothing that Tulane couldn't do. 27 years straight that Troy won it all. Now that I think about it, I played too much ball. Hopefully this game comes back sooner rather than later, because it's time for Cincinnati to go hunting for Gator. God, I used to love playing college football, the college football video game. I used to love taking the small schools and just absolutely
whooping,
dominating. Like I said, I think there was one point I went 27 straight years with Troy winning the national championship, which would never happen in real life. First of all, 27 years of any team winning the national championship is insane. I think we can all agree that that is just obviously never going to happen. But
did you adjust any of the options in that game?
No, I just played it on whatever it was preset. So
gotcha. You didn't rig it to.
No, I didn't make it easy, adjust the AIs or anything.
More favorable. Yeah.
Right. No, I just chose, teams that I wanted to play with. San Diego State was one of my favorites to play as. I have an admiration for San Diego State, and we're gonna talk a little bit about them tonight as they are part of the Mountain West Conference. But did you ever play that game?
I don't recall ever having a copy of it for PlayStation, but there was one of those demo editions I had where you could do it for a little bit, and it would be maybe 5 minutes of a quarter, and it was excellent. And I remember actually probably a little over 10 years ago now seeing one of the last copies in a going out of business sale, and I was kind of damn, bring this back.
It was certainly one of my favorite. I don't remember what year it is that I have, but I still have a copy for the Xbox 360. It's the one where Jared Zabransky from Boise State. Again, we'll be talking about Boise State a little bit later because they are as well in the Mountain West.
Yep.
But it was one with Jared Zabransky on the cover. I think that was 13, maybe 14. I don't remember. But it's definitely one of my favorite games to play. So, that being said, let's move on from video games to real-life games. So, in the NBA, we've had some strange things going on. Mm-hmm. The first, obviously, being the Kawhi Leonard trade. But also, before we talk about Kawhi Leonard, because that's pretty straightforward, two players got screwed out of, playing where they want to play. There was something that was a little more odd that had happened. Our good friend Carmelo Anthony, mm-hmm. He was told that he wasn't going to be returning to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yep. And the Thunder made good on that promise and traded him. Now, he got traded to the Atlanta Hawks, which...
Ouch.
Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks are terrible. Just absolutely terrible. But...
optimism? No.
Yeah. So, Carmelo Anthony traded from Oklahoma City to Atlanta. Atlanta traded Dennis Schroeder and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot to the Thunder for Melo, Justin Anderson with a 2020 lottery pick. And the 76ers, they were also in on this deal. They got Mike Muscala. Just after that trade, something was funny. It just didn't feel right about Carmelo Anthony being traded to the Hawks for Dennis Schroeder. And I was right. The Hawks then waived Carmelo Anthony. Just let him go, allowing him to sign with whoever he wants to play with.
I heard Houston's favorable right now.
Actually, yes. So he has signed with the Rockets. It allowed Melo to sign with the Houston Rockets. So what this is saying to me, and here comes my little rant, and this is something that just straight up pisses me off. What is the point of playing the games? Just forfeit the games if you're trying to tank. I'm not playing this season. Just do that. Just do it. Because what is the point in, clowning around, pretending like, oh, we're trying to be competitive. You're trying to lose. When you trade Dennis Schroeder for a guy that you're going to cut, like, you're obviously trying to cut salary cap. You're obviously not trying to win. And obviously, I don't get why they did it, other than they're obviously trying to lose on purpose. So Dan O'Shea is joining us live in person for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah.
Dan O'Shea, how are you doing?
Good, man. Good. Been a while.
Yes. So we are back, the 3 Dan Band, and we are right now in the middle of talking about the Carmelo Anthony trade to the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks then waived Carmelo Anthony. I'm obviously pissed off because my take on tanking. Like, it's not even my team. Why do this? Just forfeit the season. Just go to the NBA and say, we don't feel like playing. We'll take the 0-82 record. Like, what is the point in even pretending that you are trying to field a competitive basketball team when you trade away Dennis Schroeder for a player that you know you're going to cut?
Yeah, I don't really understand the trading away Schroeder. Like, I thought he kind of fit their timeline. He's a young dude. He's pretty talented. He's not fantastic or anything.
He's future superstar. Just watching him play.
I don't think future superstar.
And the way he's
but
grown,
he could be an all-star. He's very streaky. That's if he can cut down the streakiness and just make that consistent, then yeah, he could be a superstar. But that's why I don't really get it, because why would you trade a piece like that away for basically nothing?
Because they're trying to just completely start over. They realize that he's going to demand money. They don't want to pay him money. They'd rather tank and try and rebuild through the draft, which doesn't make sense because most of the players are young. They've gotten rid of the old guys. They've gotten rid of Dwight Howard. They've gotten rid of Joe Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He fits a timeline for a decent rebuild where you can still sell. Well, they can't really sell tickets. It's Atlanta, but he's still like a piece that you can build around. So to me, it's like why just hand that away? And I'm not against tanking in principle. So for this to not make sense to either of us is a bit concerning. I get them, waiving Carmelo now that they've done that, because they are obviously not trying to compete. But I don't get the first portion of the move.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I might be taking an extreme, and I do mean extreme, and I understand that, stance on this here, but I think that the commissioner, I almost said David Stern, Adam Silver, needs to take a strong stand against obvious tanking, and the Hawks need to be punished. I don't think that it is fair. First of all, I knew I was going to forget the way I said this, so I made sure to write this down. It is bad for the fans, it is bad for the league, and it is bad for sports in general, the way that they are doing this. Yes, trust the process. It may have worked. You got a bunch of bad players, so just embrace it. Lose naturally. You're not a good team anyways.
Right. Yeah, I don't think Schroeder's going to be really a huge difference maker on his own when he's got no one helping him. So
that being said, how nice is he going to be with Russ and PG?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch. He can just pretty much fit into, he can play either guard role. He doesn't need to be a point guard, and he's obviously not going to start over Russell. So he'll be their starting shooting guard, and he'll be a great piece to throw at when defenses are going after Westbrook and PG. So it certainly works for them.
Exactly. He's going to be fun to watch in Oklahoma City, but he's definitely, in my opinion, an upgrade over Carmelo Anthony. He's young, he's fast, plays defense. He's
a great defender.
His scoring, while streaky, is equal to that of Carmelo now. Definitely not when Carmelo came to the Knicks from the Nuggets.
Right. Carmelo's obviously taken
that was elite talent, Carmelo.
Yeah, Carmelo's obviously taken like a couple steps back at this point. He's about the only person that doesn't realize it.
Well, let me ask you, is it that his talent has taken a couple steps back, or is it his mentality and his attitude? Because it seems like it's probably the second.
There's an argument to be made for either way, but the fact of the matter remains that he's taken a step back, no matter how you slice it.
Right, of course. Just Carmelo Anthony, man. Like, when he came to the Knicks from the Nuggets, and when he was with the Nuggets, and for most of his time with the Knicks, watching him, you saw immediately Hall of Fame. 100%. Are these last couple of years, him not trying on defense, his complete and utter lack of care for the game, is that going to hurt his Hall of Fame resume?
Probably not enough to take him out, depending on who he's up against when it's voting time. Maybe he's not first ballot.
Well, it's going to end up being him, Bosh, Wade. They're all going to be in the same class because they all came in together.
And I would put the two of them above him, certainly.
I mean, it is the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. I would say in terms of an NBA player, probably Carmelo Anthony. If you're talking about international, man, Chris Bosh was just built for FIFA basketball.
Bosh also has championships. Bosh was really, truly coming into his own. And, his career, unfortunately, got cut short due to the blood clot issue, but
it was fun to watch while he was playing.
Yeah.
Definitely. One thing that a lot of people say when they're asking about the Hall of Fame, and I get this from our good friend, the Godfather, can you tell the story of basketball without Chris Bosh? Can you tell the story of basketball without Carmelo Anthony? I think you can.
I was going to say, I think you can. Bosh, I think, would actually be harder because he was on, he was the first part of the super team, the Big Three. Not the super duper team, which is what the Warriors now are, but,
You still salty about that?
I do have to correct something. We were talking about Boogie like 2 weeks ago, and we were wondering about his age, and I said something like, oh, he's definitely not young. He's the youngest All-Star on the team. He's 27. He's my age.